This is the 3-time Impact Wrestling X Division champion, the newest member of Bullet Club. I am the inevitable Ace Austin. And right now I want you to check out something on YouTube for me. If you're looking for some wrestling content on YouTube, go ahead and head over to the Nation Network. All right, they got some old school, they got some new school, and I'm willing to bet, chances are they've got something that you'll like. And that is inevitable.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Nation Network. I'm your host, Vince McJam. And tonight we are getting ready to bring you episode 2. Behind-the-scenes update on the much-anticipated release, even more anticipated than before. And that will be Ultra Pro Wrestling. And I say more because now we've had another taste of what big companies are handing us, which is a crap pile on a plate. And I know we're getting tired of it because I hear it every day. So, with that in mind, let's start getting this thing kicked off. First off, I want to bring in the one, the only, the man behind it all, Sam.
Hey. How's it going?
Going good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Yes, very, very good. We just passed the 50,000 pounds. I don't know what that's
we did.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That was the second last of the stretch goals. That's covered now. We've got 2.5 days still left to go. So yeah, everything's awesome. Everything's good. Very happy.
As I'm looking at it right now, from 15 minutes ago, it's already gone up another few $100 US. So we're at 64,000 US, 64,545. In our conversion, we're basically looking to cover about $20,000 more. And how many more days are left?
About 2.5. So, yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a challenge. But you know what? People have been asking about it. And
yes.
The thing is, we will. This is probably one of your questions, actually. But, the thing is, we have other ways of trying to get money as well. There's the Scottish government have a thing called Creative Scotland, which helps independent people that are doing something creative, and especially with the Kickstarter, tomorrow they're launching a campaign in conjunction with the Kickstarter. Nice. Where if you meet your goal, the Scottish government, I think we looked into it, I think the way it is now, they're going to be able to fund something like 5 or 10% of whatever you've raised. They'll match something like that. So
that would probably be enough to put you there.
Yeah, so that launches tomorrow. So we'll need to get on. We only have like a couple of days left. So as soon as that launches, we need to get in there with the application form and do all that. So that's an extra chunk of money that if we're eligible for it, which I think we are, that'll be good. But then also there's other ideas as well. Like we may end up having like a Ultra Pro Wrestling shop and sell. We'll do like t-shirts and things like that.
Sure.
So there are other ways to kind of get there. But if we don't get there and we don't have the money to fund the rest of those development, I'll do it anyway. I'll just keep working on this game and do it. And even if we, burn through all the money and we'll have the demo out as well. So there's that as well. But yeah, whatever it takes, I'll keep working on it. I'll do it. The only thing is, it might take a little bit longer to cross that finish line. But whatever it takes, we'll
whatever it takes, I can tell you, it'll still probably come out before Fight Forever.
Yeah, I don't want to piss off the AEW fans, but yeah.
Oh, that's okay. The gaming community does that on its own.
Yeah,
that's why I think this game is already being so well received.
Yeah.
Well, part of why I think the buzz has been going in the direction it has, because I've seen a big swing from week 1, and the momentum, it's like a snowball effect. The momentum keeps on building up, and now more people are excited about it. And part of the reason for that, for sure, is our next guest, who is joining us here today. You guys know him. This is Hal Haney, the man behind the artwork. A lot of it you see on the back wall there. Welcome aboard, sir. Glad to have you here.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
We are doing fine, I think. So I can tell everybody right now, right off the bat, just the energy with these two guys alone and seeing them do a little banter before we went live it's infectious. It really is. And that type of environment is going to produce really good fruit.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
So Hal's already let us know he's the responsible one in the group. Okay, so let's
yes,
start
I tweeted all this out yesterday. Sam obviously falling down on the job. We're gonna have to talk about some things about responsibilities.
Yeah, we'll get them all worked out. I have no doubt. So we've talked to Sam a few occasions now. So Hal, talk to us about you a little bit here. So artwork, I'm gonna guess, started when you were what, 5, 6, 4?
Oh, before that, as soon as I could hold a crayon. I was doing art when I was 2, 3 years old.
Wow.
So but I've only been doing it professionally for the last 5 years. Because my life kind of took a circuitous route. I wasn't ever, I didn't go to college. I didn't ever set out to be a professional artist. I was, happy doing construction work and, all that kind of stuff. And then it just kind of happened. Like I was a stay-at-home dad for several years. And, I needed something to help contribute grocery money and things like that. So I started making wrestling art at the kitchen table when we were living in a single wide trailer up in Fancy Gap, Virginia. I don't know if you know where the hell that is. Nobody else does either.
No.
It's in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful, but it's about 15 minutes to the nearest grocery store because there's nothing around. So anyway, so I started doing some wrestling art and just posting it on Instagram and things. And the first person that was famous that noticed was actually Big Van Vader.
Wow.
And he retweeted a piece that I had done that had him in it a couple of times, and that kind of gave me the confidence to pursue it as a real career. I was like, you know what, I can actually do this. So just kind of spitballing. Just kept posting things on Instagram, and then Matt Cardona found me, Zack Ryder, at the time in WWE, and he wanted me to do some art of him, and he helped blow me up. Like I did something for him, and he just kind of got the ball rolling for me, and I went from 1,700 followers on Instagram to about 17,000 in a few months, and now it's up to like 40 something. So I'm like, I'm doing okay. I got a real job now. Hey, look at me.
And you get to be your own boss and work from home. There's a lot to be said for that. But
yeah, no shit. I mean, I got this guy right here. He's a boss now. I gotta adhere to what he's going with. But that doesn't bother me at all. He's a great boss.
There you go. And I'll tell you what, the artwork itself, when I first found you, was about a year or so ago. This is a year in the making, this. And I was like looking at the same logic I'm sure that Cardona had and anybody else. It's just like, this is like different in the sense that, this is somebody who lives, breathes, sleeps wrestling like we all do, because the artwork was so spectacular. And the way you do it, like looking at the Sting in the background where you have one half of the face from one generation Sting.
Those are the ones that actually got Cardona's attention. I started that series, and I did Hogan and Sting and Macho Man, and he saw those and was like, oh shit, I need to get one of these of me. So I did one of him, and that's the piece that blew up. And then after that, I was getting found by, Heath Slater found me, the Blue Meanie found me. I talk to Blue Meanie all the time now. He and I exchange memes because he's quite the jokester.
Oh, I can imagine.
And then, all of a sudden I look up and I got a message from Sasha Banks, and Sasha Banks had me do something for her to give to Bailey for her birthday. And
no kidding.
I did this little picture of Macho King Randy Savage sitting on a throne holding Bailey's little dog, and Sasha gave that to her for her birthday in 2019. And so after that, like, everything was kind of just going bananas for me, Wow. And now I'm at the point where I've got wrestling toys that are officially licensed. Stone Cold Steve Austin called me like 6 days ago, that kind of shit. So
holy cow, talking about another world. I mean, if my phone rang and let me tell you something, you dumb son of a bitch.
And what's funny is that he's exactly like that on the phone.
I
You know,
don't doubt it for a second.
As soon as you pick it up, you're like, it's like he's been talking for 5 minutes. He's hilarious. So, you know, I hadn't heard from him in, you know, months and months or whatever. I think I texted him around Christmas or something. You know, he just, you know, said hey back or whatever. But I had, you know, it's not like I talk to him all the time. But yeah, so he just kind of called me out of the blue. He's a shitty texter. He hates texting.
Same here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just not for some people. But yeah, he hates to text. So he'll just call you, and you better be ready, you know.
What?
So yeah, so he had me do a shirt for his TV crew that he's working with right now out in Nevada.
Yeah, he's staying busy. I mean, I'm real happy for him. He did the WrestleMania thing last year. He looked good doing it. You get worried when they get to a certain age and not in the ring a whole lot. You start to worry about it might not be such a great idea, but he pulled it off.
Oh man, now he took a bump on the damn concrete floor in the crowd. I loved it.
I worry about it.
Oh no, he's fine. He's, you know, he's in great shape.
I was just watching Impact pay-per-view the other night, and I see PCO coming off the top rope onto the apron onto the floor. And it's like, if you were 25, I'd be cringing. You're like 60 almost. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's not always a great idea.
No, but some of these guys somehow manage to do it and tell their stories. Your first memory of professional wrestling, the first time you realize this is my thing.
Road Warriors, 1987.
Against?
I don't know who it was against, but they were probably beating up some jobbers. But I was watching WCW on Saturday night, you know, or NWA at the time on TBS, and I saw these big bad motherfuckers with this makeup and these shoulder pads and all that shit. I was like, who the fuck are these guys? You know, my little
pretty captivating, aren't they?
My little 5-year-old ass was hooked after that. So, you know, I watched WCW from then, you know, every week until it closed in 2001. So.
Yeah, those were the good days back with the TBS studio and all that, and that little tiny dinky thing, which, by the way, Hal, people keep asking me if there's going to be that style in there. And I know we kind of addressed it last week, but, sorry, Sam, about is there going to be a TV studio?
Oh, there's got to be. Well, he was talking yesterday about the making different promotions, everything. Right. That's got to, like, if you put the Atlanta, what was the name of the place? Center Stage. If you put something that looks like Center Stage.
Yeah, like the NWA does today.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, we definitely need an equivalent of that, 100%.
Yeah. Just something stripped down with like 100 fans in the crowd and some TV cameras and podium.
Off to the side with the promo bit and
Yeah, I can make up like a bootleg Mean Gene or a bootleg Tony Schiavone, you know, kind of with little interviewer characters back there.
Yeah, and we've got Vince McMahon to
there you go
there as well.
All right, I'm going to ask you, Hal, the question I ask all the creators when they come on here. If something, God forbid, were to happen and all the artwork was going to be gone forever, except you could save one piece, which one would it be and why?
If I could save one. Damn, let me look around. I know which one.
Which one?
There's one up here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's Walter White.
That's what I thought it was. Okay.
Well, that one's signed by both Vince Gilligan and Bryan Cranston. Now, I've got two halves that I put together in that frame that are signed by the two of them. Now, that chair next to it is signed by Roddy Piper.
Oh, wow.
Pretty awesome. That has nothing to do with art, but, you know, so all these...
Yeah, once it's signed by Roddy Piper, I think it qualifies.
Yeah.
Wow, that is cool. Yeah, I saw you posting this, the guy signing the picture from Breaking Bad.
Yes.
So
that's
that would be a good one.
Who works over at the Rich Eisen show on the Roku network. Used to be on the Peacock, but they moved to the Roku network. But anyway, so they do the sports show, Rich Eisen show, and he works there, and they kind of feature him. And he's got his own little corner that's got all like a bunch of my artwork up on his desk, you know, and all that stuff. So if you see clips of TJ talking to Rich Eisen on the show, they'll show like my artwork's always getting TV time, which is pretty awesome, you know.
Yeah, it is. Boy, I tell you, and so all these connections you've made simply through the fact that you were doing art of mostly wrestling, but you've done other stuff too. There's the Mike Tyson Punch-Out stuff, which I think is brilliant. Several other. You got the Harley Quinns and the Batmans and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I just love, it's all manner of nerd shit. Whatever kind of geekity shit I'm into, I just draw the hell out of that. It all just depends on my mood. If I'm in a wrestling mood, I'll do some wrestling stuff. If I'm in a comic book mood, I'll do comic book stuff. Video games, whatever else.
Talking about the comic book stuff, you have the one with Hurricane carrying Molly Holly.
Oh yeah,
We were just talking about that the other day. I showed the people the one that I had that you sent to me. Thank you for that. And I was showing them that, and it says, I'm not a big comic book guy. I've got a small collection, mostly based off of movies, but then there's some spawns and stuff like that. Anyway, I says, but I still know a few of the iconic ones. And then there was a little debate going on whether the inspiration was a Superman, and I said it was the Batman where he's carrying Robin.
No, it's the Superman. It's Crisis on Infinite Earths.
And I lost the bet. Oh, well.
How much did you lose?
Nothing at all.
Oh, nice.
It was one of those bets.
He lost his pride.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
There's a value in that, but not much.
Right.
All right. I thought for sure it was Batman carrying Robin, because I figured the sidekick thing.
No, they've done that pose a bazillion times, though. There was a Cyclops and Jean Grey that did it. There's, this dude carrying dead girl or whatever. That's it's been done to death. But Crisis is probably the most famous version of that.
Okay. Well,
can I just say, just on the comic book stuff, I didn't notice the Demolition one in the background there. Is that a comic book cover or is that a poster?
Oh, I did that for their 35th anniversary thing. Was that this year? Yeah, I think that was this year.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Shit, man, the years are running together for me now. I can't remember when I did that.
Yeah,
I think that was okay. It says 2022. So anyway, they were doing a 35th anniversary thing, and me and my friend Paul Zantier, who is at Blame Boogie, friend of mine. He's an excellent graphic artist. Graphic designer, but he and I whipped that up for Axe and Smash, and they put it on shirts and stuff like that and go around sell it. But this was for like a special promotion where they signed a limited number of them, and I got one.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Those are nice guys too. Yeah,
and I love your Bret Hart one as well. About the Hart Foundation comic.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun. I did that for a Bret signing. Where Bret and Demolition were signing for this promotion up in Vancouver, and me and that same guy did this one, but yeah, I'm proud of that one. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like that one.
The Bret, I can't really see it from here with the glare on it, but is it the Bret Hart Foundation where they're holding the Canadian flag up like Iwo Jima?
No, it's the one. Hang on. They're doing the
Hart don't mess with your camera. It's all right.
yeah. If I do that, it's all over.
Yeah. But anyway, I saw the Iwo Jima one. I said, that is so freaking clever. I mean, I love that thing. And that was such a great feud back in the day, too.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the first time in history where you could have the same wrestlers move across a border and completely switch roles.
Yeah.
It's like, go to Canada, the heels are the baby faces are the heels. What a great time it had to be in that locker room to know you get to play both roles.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Bret enjoyed the hell out of that too. I bet Stone Cold, he loved it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Once he started tapping into the comedian section of his persona, it was just, him and singing to Kurt Angle. Come on, man.
Yeah, the goofy shit he did as a heel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure
I'll never
he
hear
loved
Kumbaya again.
Yeah. That was all post what, I think. Once he dropped the what, and then there was like the kind of the heel that same year. I want to say it's like 2001. Yeah, like once all that and the what came out, he had a lot of shit you could laugh at.
All right. So one question I do want to ask you, and then we'll move into the questions.
Okay.
So you didn't go to college. Where did you develop all your art talent? Was it through high school art programs? Did you get outside influences?
My high school art teacher was the laziest motherfucker to ever walk this earth. He basically Oh my God, he would just sit his big ass behind his desk and fucking play on his computer. He's probably playing Tetris or something, and just like, here, you just go draw something, you know. So I would sit and draw, but like, no, I had to teach myself everything,
Wow, that's even more impressive then.
Yeah, I'm still learning. There's a lot of like fundamentals that I need to work on and all that kind of stuff. But I'm always learning. So as long as I'm working all the time, I'm getting better. So
Now, when you do your drawing, are you doing it on? I'm gonna again. Technically, I'm not into this stuff. Like when I got tattoo work done, the guy has like almost not a laptop. What the heck you want to call it? Like an electronic easel.
No, like a tablet. You mean?
Yeah, tablet. That's the word. Thank you. Is it 9 a.m.?
No, I don't do anything digital. Like all my stuff is by hand.
So you direct to paint, to pen to paper.
Pen to paper. Yeah, I'm a dinosaur. I'm trying to learn a few things, digitally to so that I can do some different stuff, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I've got an iPad and an Apple Pencil and all that sort of shit, but I haven't fucked with it enough to really be any good at it,
Yeah, he was trying to get me to join. I mean, I do some artwork, nothing like this, but over the years, and I had a great art teacher, but that's many, many, many years ago, and it's one of those things where if you don't stay with it, you lose it like anything else. And
well, I'll trade you art teachers. How about that?
Yeah, no, we had a great art teacher, Mrs. Hirsch. Still remember her to this day. She's passed on, but wow, she was just terrific, and she had such a passion for art, and we had a great class too. So we had 2 or 3 of us that one of us did go on to do a lot of good stuff. His name's Brian Hines. The rest of us got into the real world and did our thing, and it is what it is.
Yeah, art versus the real world is a very, very tough situation.
It is. And what do you use mostly? Is it colored pencil, paint?
No, mostly you use Copic sketch markers.
Sketch markers.
Yeah, well, it's Copic, but they're this really good quality alcohol-based ink. I actually use about 10, 15 different brands of them, just varying price ranges. Like if I need like a lot of a color, then I'll get the cheap shit. If I need like a good color that's only for a little bit, then I'll get the expensive stuff. You know what I mean?
Got it. Is it the same type of markers people would use if they were getting a caricature done?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
They might use those, or it just depends. Like Nolanium, Nolan Harris, I've seen him use different like chalks and stuff like that to do people. That's not only to know if it's chalk, but whatever he's using, it's not exactly that. But I mean, he could do whatever. So
sounds good. Well, guys, are we ready to get some questions?
Sure.
Let me get the screen over here. Bam. We'll work our way down from the top. Mr. Dubs says, how hard is it to create and implement new grapple systems that didn't exist in No Mercy, such as weapon grapples like a Van Terminator or Van Daminator? Would such a move be a weapon grapple default for all characters in any scenario, or perhaps only achievable when grappling with a weapon while you're in a special or finisher state? Thanks, and keep up the great work. I'll let you digest that.
I'm gonna
you take this, buddy.
Tag, you're in.
Sorry, I'm just going to read that bit again. And would such a move be a weapon grapple default for all characters in a scenario? I'm not exactly sure what that means.
I think he's saying is, in other words, whether I'm Rob Van Dam or whether I'm Stacy Keebler, if I grab a chair, would that be the move that I could do with it as a special, or would it be specific to Rob Van Dam?
Oh no, yeah. Again, it's like No Mercy. It's like you can assign even the reversals that you have to each individual character. We can have a different reversal. So if someone comes in with a kick and you grab them, the move that you follow up with, if you're reversing that move, you can assign to different wrestlers. In terms of like a new grapple system, I mean, what we're doing is we're taking the grapple system from, well, we're not taking it from No Mercy. We're rebuilding it based on the way that No Mercy worked. And so I'm trying to think, like adding in certain things like the Van Terminator. it's fundamentally it's the same type of system. So it's just a case of it's not hard in the sense that we need to kind of go back to the drawing board and think about lots of different things. It's more a case of it's just the time it takes to implement a sort of subsystem. So like what the thing that's come to mind just now is like in No Mercy, you had sort of like lots of different states. So like you'd lock up and that would be a state. You'd have a front grapple state. You could push the R button and then you'd switch to the back and you'd be in back grapple state. So we want to add more states. So one idea is that perhaps a state might be a headlock, and from there you could do different button combinations and you could do a headlock takeover. You could then switch to the back from a headlock, drop toe hold. There's lots of stuff that you can do from that state. So we're going to add more states than No Mercy had. But in terms of like implementing it, how hard that is, once we've got it set up for, and the system actually is just now set up to have different states. So it's just a case of creating more states, like copy and paste. Okay, we're going to do this state, but then we just change the definitions of what that state is. So it's not really hard to do. To add in more states. It's just time consuming, and we'll take a bit more testing and all the rest of it. But yeah, so it's not a challenge that we're worried about or anything like that.
Cool. And testing, there's that word again. 2K, I don't know if you guys are watching or anything, but you might want to take some notes. Testing, that's how you find out the game actually works before you put it out to market. Just a thought. Let's see.
Ouch.
Yeah, hey, I spent $120. I got an opinion. That's all. And it's like year 5. It's like, come on, man. And then you're breaking stuff that was working before. So I just don't know what to say.
I actually played 2K for the first time. The first time I ever played one of those games in a long time. We got it set up here. One of the people that works for us, Frank, he brought in his PlayStation. He said, I've got the game, just download it onto the console, we can play it. Now,
Spider-Man console, by the way, let's make it clear.
It was, yeah.
Spider-Man console.
Yeah. Spider-Man one, that's right. So I can only give you my first opinion of it. And to be fair, I didn't play it for too long. Played it for about 10 minutes. I'm not used to the grappling system. I'm not used to the buttons and all that stuff. But when I was walking around and all that stuff, I kept thinking to myself, this is fucking dog shit. This is really bad. Now, people that like those 2K games, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I've just not played it enough, more to it. Maybe once I get to grips with it, it's not so bad. But my first experience of it, the version of it, I don't know how you guys can play those games.
Because we have no choice, Sam. That's why I told you from the beginning when we started doing these, and I told you when you were thinking, I hope we hit 20,000, I said, dude, you're going to blow the doors off 20,000. People are tired. They're tired of having no choice except 2K.
Yeah, well, I understand the frustration a bit more now, I think.
And to flip it around, because of all this excitement that's been building and because everyone's forever told me about No Mercy, I went out, got the Nintendo 64 and spent 4.5 hours last night playing No Mercy. And now I get it. It definitely feels better. Does it look as good? Of course not, but it's a 20-year-old game. But so far as from a wrestling perspective, the moves are smoother. They're delivered. The guys walk around the ring like real people. They don't do this tech fighter crap where they're hopping up and down all the time. It's a much better wrestling engine.
One thing that you'll like that we're going to do is the cage. We won't make invisible cages.
Yes. And
we make
so bad in this one.
We might make them kind of transparent if the camera's really close. But yeah, I get what you're saying. When the cage is just invisible and you're throwing the guy off it,
into a TV screen, essentially. It's just like, oh god, not even a sound effect, nothing. It reminded me of like when you were a kid and you had the wrestling play sets, right? You might take one side off so you can get your hands in there.
Yeah.
All right, our next question from Ant Maurizio. Proud top-level championship backer, going to fire a few questions for Sam. Will each character have a front special, back special, and a VPW2-esque maximum special? I don't know what the VPW thing is yet.
Oh, that's virtual pro wrestling.
Virtual pro wrestling. Okay, there you go. And the fact that all these other things he's asking makes sense to me now is because I spent 4.5 hours playing the game. Also, corner specials and off the rope specials like DDP has in Revenge.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I'm not so sure if we're going to do is the virtual pro wrestling. Oh, there's more to this.
Yeah, I just realized that too when I hit the more button.
Okay, we'll go through that first. Or if these are different questions, then we'll do.
I'm sure. Let's see. Well, let's see. Will the TKO wobble backward animation and attempt to get up be the same? TKO wobble backward. Okay, I didn't notice that yet. I don't think. And the touch the face fall backwards when a wrestler is bleeding. Is the goal to replicate all the great move and strike animations from WCW and WO World Tour, BPW1 onwards? Besides Twitter, now we get into other questions. All right, well, let's just nail that's a lot right there.
Yeah, okay, so in terms of all the specials, we'll do, you'll have a front special, a back special, corner special. In Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, they have a mechanic where, of course, you unlock your special by doing, once you've built up enough stamina, you can pose. You flick that analog stick and you'll pose and that unlocks. You're now in special mode. In Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, once you're in special mode, if you pose again, you unlock, and I think you have to successfully do the full pose, then you unlock a sort of hyper special where certain people, like I think Vader had a different move that he would then do, which was like a sort of super special. I'm not sure if we're going to do that or not. And it's funny, he actually goes on to mention Melon Bread. Melon Bread is the guy on Twitter who knows everything about these games. I'm actually going to get his opinion on whether or not we should do the super special. I want to see what he thinks about that first. The TKO wobble backwards, all those animations we're going to look at, and we're basically going to try and replicate that mechanic and that system and all that stuff. But once we've got that as a baseline, we might look at tweaking it a little bit, changing it. So I really like the TKO knockout kind of wobble backwards and fall down, and the hand coming up, checking the blood. I like all that stuff. So it might be very similar. We might change it slightly. But yeah, in terms of it being a mechanic, that'll be in there definitely.
Cool.
So where else was there?
Any new weapons that you have in mind that didn't appear in the Aki series yet?
Any new
weapons?
Well, so I guess what we're doing, we're looking at the mechanical aspect of the weapons. So that would be like, if a guy has a chair, he's standing a particular way. If he has a baseball bat, he's standing a different way. So we want to get all the different stances and all the different swings, because if you swing the chair, it's different from when you swing the bat. If you hit with like Triple H's sledgehammer, for instance, he obviously always puts his hand on the sledgehammer bit before he'd hit you. So we might kind of do stuff like that. But in terms of, once you have a wrestler with his position is like this, it could be anything. We can really, we can add in. It can be a sword, So
may I say something real quick?
Sure. Go for it.
I got those clown characters.
Yeah.
So one of them is going to have to be able to swing like a giant sausage. Or
well, of course you
gotta
would.
be able to hit somebody with a fucking pie in the face. You got to be able to throw a pie.
Pie in the face. That would be good.
Pie in the face. Maybe they got a little squirt gun.
I thought you were going to see it like a mallet, like a big.
That's what I was thinking too.
A big giant fucking mallet. All the clown tricks.
What was that Genesis game the WWE had out where it was kind of hokey? It was a 2D side scroller kind of wrestling, and Doink would pull out a mallet and boing, and then it would disappear.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Doink even with the flour spraying the water and all that stuff. So what I'd say is that we're kind of, the way that we're approaching it just now is all base level. So all the stuff that AKI did, that's priority. But then after that, ideas of like squirt gun, pie in the face.
I'm just going stupid over here.
Well, no, but when you say like pie in the face, I'm thinking of what other type of things, what other type of weapons you could have that would use that sort of same mechanic. Because we could almost do like the mandible claw, but rather than you with a weapon, we do that. And so
that's good.
So now, like, well, what else can you do?
Or like a big,
now maybe you could
like
pick
open hand slap, would be like a good one to use. Like you just load a pie into his hand and then he slaps him like that with it,
And there's a lot of throwable objects in other games.
Rather than grab it. Yeah.
You might throw the ring bell or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, so there's throwing mechanics. But yeah, I mean, really, in terms of actual weapons, so of course, we'd have like Singapore cane, barbed wire baseball bat. There was an idea that someone had about creating your own weapon. I think that's too difficult to do because
good lord.
In terms of being able to take a weapon that we have in the game, like a guitar, and customize it, make it your own, put labels on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. But in terms of like taking a weapon like a guitar and applying barbed wire to it, it's like that. We'd already have to have that preset. We wouldn't be able to create a mechanic in the game where it just applies barbed wire to anything. We wouldn't be able to do that. So if you wanted a barbed wire based guitar, that's something we'd have to preset in the game. So a create your own weapon idea, I think that's very, very difficult to implement.
Now, I think it's important that we mention right now, if you want to have a barbed wire guitar, it's possible. If you can donate $20,000 to the Kickstarter in the next...
That's what we should do. We should just make the next goal 100,000 barbed wire guitar. It's just straight right up.
Done. And we'll even throw a pie in the face. What the hell?
There you go.
Pie in the face, barbed wire guitar.
Don't forget hey, listen, don't forget that damn sausage. I need that sausage in there.
That's what she
I gotta have it like a fucking 3-foot sausage that's like 10 pounds. And you just swing it like a fucking giant dildo or something.
That's what she said. 9 o'clock in the morning, man. Have your breakfast. Let's go.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm all jacked up on coffee. I'm ready to go.
There you go.
I can't promise that I'll spend any time thinking about Hal's sausage, but I'll try.
Oh, come on, baby.
Will there be new modern finishing moves, and which ones do you specifically have in mind at this point?
I mean, there will be one thing that I try to keep an eye on right now, because my focus just now has to be so heavily on let's get the animations done that we know are definitely going in the game. Yep. The focus of the attention, well, to be clear, actually, just now, because the Kickstarter is still live, we've kind of postponed the dev until the Kickstarter ends, because right now everything that we're doing is a sort of promotion side of it. So, contacting media, film podcasts, all this. So that's been what we've been doing for the past, few weeks. But once things commence, once we get back to the dev side, everything is going to be geared towards this one-on-one match, and we want to get that out as quickly as possible. So the best way to do that is to just try and do all the moves that we know are going to go in the game. But once we've sort of looked at all the AKI moves, and we have that as a base, that then we can create other moves. That's then going to be the time to look at that kind of stuff. But you look at the AKI modding community, where they take part of the game code for an animation and somehow splice it in game with another animation. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they create their own moves inside of the game engine, and so they create a bunch of moves that
holy cow
that weren't there. So like for instance, a Van Terminator is one of them. If you go to YouTube, type in No Mercy Van Terminator, you'll probably find it somewhere. But that's obviously a move that's not in that game. Van Terminator is a personal favorite of mine, so maybe that's like the first move that's not in those games that I'll try to do justice. But yeah, no, I can't help but look at all the moves that the guys are creating, because they're creating those moves using the animations and moves that are already in the game. Yeah. They're just hacking the game and changing some some long codes around and somehow creating these new moves. So I look at all the new moves that they're doing, because that's obviously the moves that people want as well. So that's a good kind of starting point for, I know people want these moves because they're trying their hardest to recreate it in No Mercy. So those are moves I'd look at and say, right, okay, let's do a version of that. But like, obviously because we're doing ours from scratch, the moves will be a lot smoother than like, when they cut them in those games, they can be kind of janky here and there, but because we're doing them from scratch, they'll be smooth and everything. So I can't think of any one particular move that's on my mind, but other than maybe the Van Terminator, that's a move that I have to do in the game. So.
And that would be definitely well received, because anything to do with Rob Van Dam's move sets is always going to be something people want. I mean, he was the original wrestler that made video game style in ring popular.
Yeah. Well, actually, just from Rob Van Dam alone, the other day I saw one of these hacked moves that they did in No Mercy. Was they're working on a split-legged moonsault, and I'm like, okay. All right, yeah, that's a cool move. You need to try and do that. But even like RVD's Frog Splash, I've said this before. You get a Frog Splash in the game. You get like it's sort of Eddie Guerrero's Frog Splash. I think there's D'Lo Brown's Frog Splash in there as well, which is different. But you never had that RVD stretch out and come back in Frog Splash. So that's something that I can't wait to do the animation for that. I'll spend like a day on that, perfecting it, getting it brilliant. So that's cool. And of course when he lands, he'll have the big bounce up and everything like that as well.
Yeah, that makes it much better when you have that impact and the reaction to it. Some of these games are kind of flat on that. Even the 2K with Rob Van Dam's 5-star Frog Splash. It's always been in the past, and then they got away from him for a couple of years. Now he's back the last couple of years, where it was always the part of the finisher. He came down, he landed hard, rolled off from impact, and then dragged himself over for the cover. Now, if you go for the cover immediately, it's more like Superfly Jimmy Snuka, where it's just hitting him and going right into cover mode. He doesn't roll off and come back for the cover.
All right, okay. Yeah. Well, actually, just since we're on this whole subject as well, this is a mechanic that No Mercy didn't have, which is, if the guy's on the ground and you're doing your Frog Splash, it doesn't matter which way this guy's rotated. You're just doing the Frog Splash. But because RVD, as people will know, would always, if the guy wasn't lined up right, RVD would switch in midair.
Yep.
So that's the thing that, at least for the Frog Splash, I would put in the game. Like if your opponent, you can take his rotation, and if it's a certain way, then instead of doing the Frog Splash, it'll load in this other move, which is the switch in midair Frog Splash. So stuff like that, yeah, that's cool.
All right, let's move along here. We got Ray Jacobs. He's excited for the game. There's a lot of that, I hear. Josh Richards, will there be triple team or more moves? So I just found out about the double teams last night.
I think triple team's a hard one. I know we will expand on the double team moves. Someone brought up to me that we had double team moves for standing grapples. So you'd have like a double team power bomb, pile driver, all that stuff. You never had a double team submission move. So like someone doing a Boston Crab and the other one doing a camel clutch. Like you never had that in the game. So I'm like, that's a good idea. That's something that we could do. But in terms of triple team moves, I'd have to really think about how that would be done, and also test and see how it looks in the game. I'd say based on the principles, it's possible, and it probably would look fine. But I don't think I can say 100% at this stage.
Yeah,
but it's something we'll look at.
It sounds like at launch that might not be something that would be in there, but definitely something to look at down the line. Let's see. Online and wrestling games has been pretty bad. No kidding. Any hopes of using rollback netcode like the open source GGPO for the game? Well, that's all your language. I don't understand what I just said. We have a sort of rudimentary online system just now, and it is a rollback netcode.
And it's using the Photon Cloud server. So I haven't done too much testing on it yet. I'm just hoping that it's going to work without any problems. But I don't know. I have friends as well that are in game development that I'm able to, if we do run into problems where stuff like that isn't working right, I'm going to be able to get them to come in and have a look too. So yeah, a lot of testing still needs done, and because, as I said, I actually just started playing the 2K games recently. I don't actually know what the online functionality of that is like. I don't know if it's really bad, if it's really slow. I don't know what that's like.
Neither do I, because I won't do it.
But yeah, I guess we'll just keep trying and keep testing and changing things that don't work, and we'll get there eventually.
Let's see. Anna Marizio says, will Sam and Hal design a physical Prima style strategy guide with the bios and moves of each wrestler? I don't think he could do all of them.
Yeah, well,
yeah, that's a lot of drawing. But we should definitely put something out that's kind of like that. Like I've got all this character art, then I'm going to have more, obviously. Even once all the characters are done, then I'll be kind of taking them in different directions and like illustrating scenarios and finishing moves and stuff like that, just to kind of mess around with them and play with them. So any and all of that stuff should definitely be bound together and put into a book. I think.
So the thing that he's talking about, obviously, this is the No Mercy version. So actually, when you go inside it, a lot of it's just images from the game.
Well, that's easy. My work is done.
So actually, the cover is really the only thing that we need to worry about with that.
Good. Okay.
We could make a version of this for Ultra Pro Wrestling. That would be cool. I would like that. So, yeah.
Give us a little backstory on how this works. So Hal's got all the drawings of these characters, and he's banging out more and more every day, it seems. Then you guys get them, and now what? You have somebody in your department that takes his drawing and crafts it?
Well, Hal can probably answer this well. Hal's got a lot of friends as well that are artists and can translate his designs into graphical. We have idea. I don't want to give up too much plans.
Fine. Just for the novice like me, it doesn't have a clue how it happens.
No. So we definitely have ideas of having graphics in the game that I'm not going to go too much into this.
Okay. So basically,
yeah.
So what I guess I was asking though is so Hal's got someone he's working with that will together come up with them, send them to you, and then you guys will put them into the game with the stuff you're working on.
Yeah, I guess we still need to work out like who that's going to be and all that stuff. And
I mean, I can work with just about anybody on this. Whoever we get to do the character models, would probably need to work directly with me on that so that we could get the characters right. But other than that, I don't want to leave it up to just any old computer guy's interpretation. Just because I want
your babies. I get it.
I want the characters to look sharp,
Sure.
Yeah, you leave up to us, and they're just going to be like 16-bit pixelated versions.
Oh, you know what? I don't know if you want to talk about this yet, but that little side project, because that would be awesome too. I can't wait to see what those little sprites would look like.
What are we talking about?
I don't mind talking about that. I think that's a cool idea. It's not something that's going to be in the initial release,
right?
But we can talk about that. I don't mind.
Let's go.
Go ahead.
Okay, so of course when just to give you a bit of a background first of all on how everything happened between me and Hal was, of course, I wanted character designs for our story mode is going to be so big that I knew we needed a ton of characters. We needed at least like 100. And of course, I'd sort of in my spare time, because most of the time I'm doing game development, actually coming up with characters. That's the sort of spare time role. So best. I mean, we've and obviously I drew from my childhood. We had some gimmicks, characters, and stuff that we come up with. But I'd been asking friends if they could help me develop some characters, and some were submitted, and it was a slow process. But then eventually I found Hal and all his characters, and I'm looking at them and I'm going, this is fucking exactly the thing that I was trying to describe to my friends that I'm looking for. Because I've said this before, I don't want I don't want just parody characters. You know, there was a wrestling game, 5-Star Wrestling, and I'm not knocking them or anything like that. But the characters that they came up with were. This sounds like I'm being nasty. I'm not being nasty, but they're kind of unimaginative. They're like Harvey D is just RVD. You're just changing around the name a little bit, and of course the character looks like RVD and all the rest of it. You know, Mike Iceberg instead of Goldberg. It's very like oh well, let's just tweak this little part of his name. I didn't want that. I wanted original sounding characters that were also that could be seen as prototypical. For how we use them in the career mode,
right?
So, for instance, one of Hal's characters, one of the first ones I saw was is it Oliver Buckingham?
Yeah, the British
Sir Oliver.
Sorry,
yeah, because his initials are SOB. Somebody pointed that out.
Right.
You didn't realize that when you made them?
No, somebody said that.
Wow,
to me.
that's
Holy
cool.
shit, it's fucking perfect.
It is, because I didn't catch it either until you just mentioned it. But I was like, "Oh my god!"
And he's a heel character as well, so that it all works out.
Gonna have to write it into my story.
Yeah, he's a real turd.
Yeah, so like when I saw that, for example, and also all your characters with the masks and everything, like you know, the designs of them are great. The actual backstories that you have for them are brilliant.
I'm having fun with that. Boy, that's a lot of fun.
How do you do that, man? It's like, how do you come up with 50 characters and 50 backstories?
Well, I mean, like my approach to it was I just made a list of all the different types of characters that I wanted to have. And because I didn't set out, I didn't know anything about Ultra Pro Wrestling when I started these. I started around my birthday, which was February. I just decided I wanted to go ahead and just have my own thing, you know, like just have something that was mine where I had characters that I could, you know, do whatever I wanted to with them. So I just kind of set out and like I was thinking, you know, I'm going to, you know, develop a pro wrestling video game that's kind of like an arcade classic, you know, in the vein of like a Punch-Out or a Street Fighter, like that sort of sensibility. But like with like sort of a Saturday Night Slam Masters kind of a feel to it. So that's kind of what I had in mind when I started drawing those characters. But I wanted them to be, you know, original and also sort of prototypical and sort of like, you know, reminiscent of a few different elements combined into, you know what I mean?
And that's like, the thing about your stuff, because as you know, I'm taking the 2D version, making it 3D in 2K23. People are loving it, but what I'm hearing in the comments all the time is, "Oh, he reminds me of this one," and it's like I looked at the same thing and I was thinking, "Oh, it reminded me of this guy," or there goes the mic. So many people are looking at the same image and it's conjuring memories of different wrestlers and maybe different from the ones you had in mind when you made them.
Yeah, like, I mean, some of them have been. People have told me, like, pointing out that this, you know, he kind of reminds me of this character. I had no idea that I was drawing, you know, anything that looked like that, you know.
Who did you think of when you made Kiki Ramirez?
I almost had like an Al Perez.
Oh, that's
yeah, like, I don't know. I was thinking like Al Perez, but like with a little bit more like Eddie Guerrero in there. You know what I mean?
And the funny thing is, I was thinking initially, not based on looks, of course.
And Hector Garza, I had in mind too.
Oh, that's another good one.
Yeah,
I was thinking a little bit Manny Fernandez-ish, but then everyone's like, "Oh, it looks like Terry Funk," and I was like, "Terry Funk." That was like the last thing I thought of.
No, I wasn't thinking of Terry Funk. Terry Funk kind of wound up in Madman Jack Maddox a little bit. He was like, you know, I kind of took almost like
Cactus
Terry
Jack
Funk
and Terry Funk and had a kid.
Meets Cactus Jack, meets, you know, Bruiser Brody, you know, whatever. Just kind of hardcore elements that, you know, just you could look at this guy's face and go, "Oh, I know what kind of wrestler he is," you know.
And this is where I think this joint effort really is going to come to fruition in a big way, is because, like you said, you wanted to put these things in a video game. Now they're going in a video game. I didn't want to wait that long. I want to put them in this video game so I have something because these characters, you want to get your hands on them. you want to start using them and having your own creations with them and run matches and all that stuff, because you mentioned action figure line, and I sat down and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be broke.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's very early, conversation development, that sort of thing, like nothing's set in stone on that. I definitely want to take it in that direction.
Yeah.
And to see where it goes,
yeah, it'll go.
Yeah. I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah, I do too.
So when I saw these characters, I thought this is just such a perfect fit for what I'm trying to do as well, because like you say, like the Madman character, like with our story mode, which is why I'm sort of focused on this, because we go through these periods. It's like, yeah, the 80s, that character can be used for the Bruiser Brody type fit, but then as soon as we come into the 90s, he fits in perfectly with Terry Funk, Cactus Jack, all these characters. You wouldn't look at them and say, oh, that's like the Buckingham. You wouldn't say, oh, that's a British Bulldog ripoff. That's a Steven Regal ripoff, because he's not done in a way that it's just like a.
When I first posted the black and white of Oliver Buckingham, all I got was, oh, that looks just like Regal. That looks just like Regal. But when I colored it, everybody, like I got those Regal vibes and British Bulldog vibes, and then somebody said to me, oh, it's like Nick Bockwinkel, and I said, what? Okay. Then I looked at it, and I was like, wow, it kind of is like Nick Bockwinkel,
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not one character like he was saying about the other video game, is that instead of just changing a name, but it's Goldberg, okay? In this case, it's an infusion of several different personalities, and then somebody else looks at it and sees one that was never intended to be in there.
Right, and it's more about, like, I want them to evoke a style, like a group of memories.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, all these characters, I kind of want them to remind you of an era and a show, but not necessarily anybody specific. Like, this sort of things that fit into certain times and places.
And I think that's even with real wrestling today. I mean, all these people getting into pro wrestling, 99% of them anyway, are doing it because they love wrestling. Why? Because they watched it when they were young coming up. And I want to do that for a living. So the people that they watched that made them keep coming back are in them. It's like, I want to be like Bret Hart. I want to be like this one. They had role models, and they're going to want to emulate. But yes, you still have to be your own person at the end of the day. But there are going to be spots. I mean, Benoit talked all the time about how he patterned himself after Dynamite Kid.
Right.
So
that's not me, I swear.
Nah, the pizza's here.
Oh, nice.
They need to let the pizza guy come up.
So another part. Well, now that damn phone ringing made me lose my train of thought. You guys talk for a second. I'll get it back.
Okay.
Well, I'll just go back to what I was thinking was, because of the way that we're doing the career mode, I almost didn't want like 100% just originality out the blue. Here's a standalone character. I was specifically looking for characters that you could look at and say, oh, he slightly reminds me of British Bulldog. He slightly reminds me of William Regal here. So all of Hal's characters, I'm seeing them through the lens of, oh, they can fit into this prototypical role here, and it just ties the whole career mode together. But also the art style, it's really not too far removed from the way that our characters look as well. So I just thought it was like a perfect fit. So of course I messaged Hal. I said, "Hi, you probably don't know me. I'm Sam. I'm Ultra Pro Wrestling." He said, "Fuck off, nerd."
But if I had known you had that charming Scottish accent, I never would have said, "Go fuck yourself" immediately. Hey, go fuck yourself.
We're just kidding.
No, yeah, it went a lot better than that.
Yeah,
that's
so yeah. But one thing that Hal had mentioned, because I said to him, I didn't know if he was just doing these characters on his own or if he'd been commissioned to do them. So I asked him, like, what was the game plan here for these characters, and he said, well, actually, the one thing I'm thinking about is a video game. And I'm sitting going, oh yeah, hi, like we could do that. But the video game that Hal had in mind was the Saturday Night Slam Masters,
which I haven't played that in so long, man.
Yeah, and of course, like
still so much fun though.
Yeah, and for an idea that is not really part of the initial release of the game, but it's something that I'd love to do at some point in the future, is have it so that you can go backstage in the game, and in fact you'll be backstage quite a lot during the career mode. That's the kind of hub of where you are that's where you make all your decisions. So the backstage area is a lot of the kind of sandbox type stuff where you can just free roam, do whatever you want. So we'll have lots of different areas for different things. And of course, one of the areas, I'd love to have an arcade machine that you can actually go up and press play and it loads something. So of course, then I'm thinking it'll take a lot of work, it'll take a lot of time. It's basically a whole new game. But if we can do an Ultra Pro Wrestling version of Saturday Night Slam Masters, because Ultra Pro Wrestling already by itself is a throwback. It's a throwback to the AKI games. So if we could include within it a throwback to Saturday Night Slam Masters and have it that you can actually play that in the game. And of course, we'll make it a separate game as well. It'll be a mobile game that people can download separately. But actually having it in the game, and then of course the everything starts, your mind starts rolling and you start thinking, well, actually, yeah, that would fit into the 90s segment of the career mode. Or maybe we go back to the 80s segment of the career mode and we do it again with an 8-bit or a 16-bit game like Pro Wrestling on the NES. So yeah, these are the kind of ideas that we're throwing around, and it's a way of Hal getting the idea that he initially had for these characters. It's a way of bringing that to life as well, but doing it under the same umbrella and having it actually in the Ultra Pro Wrestling game as well. So that's the idea that we've got. But as I said,
that phone call made me very, very excited. Like when he suggested that, I was like, man, this is great. I know.
I saw the sausage come up and. Sorry.
No, this is the right pairing of individuals for this project. It's just the vibe, like I said, that I get with you guys is really, really good.
I can't get off the phone with this fucker in less than half an hour, 45 minutes. I swear to God, like we start talking about this thing, and it just fucking steamrolls and rolls, and we end up on the phone for an hour and a half every time.
Yeah, I was going to say this whole thing could easily not have worked if the game and the characters, they line up, but if me and Hal had some sort of personality clash or something like that, this easily could not have worked. But luckily we're fucking
I'm gonna do my best not to just be a total douchebag. I'll be as easy to work with as I can.
No, I think it's been so perfect. Every step of this has been perfect, and me and Hal seem to really get on, really like each other, and so that's just this. Yeah, match made in heaven. So
it's going to be. I tell you what, I get more excited about this game every day that goes by. The more I hear little things, and because I think originally, Sam, when you came up with the idea of bringing Hal in, Hal had already, like when we had talked about it, you had mentioned that Hal already had plans of his own for a game. So I thought that was dead and buried, what have you. And then it was like a week or so later that I asked Hal if he'd be okay with me taking his stuff and bringing it into 2K23 and then showcasing it, and he was cool with that. And then like a week later I find out he's on the game and I was like, oh damn, look at this.
I think this is a very good match, and I'm really I saw the video that he posted with the old 6-sided ring footage a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just seeing that and imagining what my guys in there, shit that came out of my stupid brain, walking around as these characters hitting each other and slamming each other, and it's like I'm very excited.
This is the fun part of the creative process, is when you get people that have this much creativity in their minds, and they have different perspectives that they're coming at it from. But as you start voicing, hey, I'm thinking about that, oh yeah, and then that snowballs off the other person, the next thing you know, you got something special. And again, I just don't think there's too many studios producing wrestling games right now that are coming at it with that kind of commitment to the actual product itself and to the fan base.
It's a candy store. I'm excited.
We all are. All right, let's check into some questions here. Where did we leave off? How will the unlocks work in the game? Will wrestlers and arenas be unlocked throughout the story mode? Can you please put in codes or different difficulties for those of us who suck at games? Says Spider Spud.
Sorry, my throat just got up on me there.
Oh, you all right?
I had a cup somewhere, but I think I put it in the bucket.
That's all right. We'll let Hal answer this one.
Sorry.
All right, I'm actually working while we're doing this. What's up?
Sorry. Just can you repeat the question?
Sure can. How will the unlocks work in the game? Will wrestlers and arenas be unlocked throughout the story mode, or can you please put in codes or different difficulties for those of us who suck at games?
I mean, as an old school gamer, I'm not opposed to the idea of cheat codes. Like, that's a thing from back in the day. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
What about difficulty levels? That'll be in there, right?
There will be difficulty levels. I'm trying to think with how it relates to the career mode, because one of the things. Thanks very much. Sorry, I'm just going to take a little drink.
Go for it.
So the unlocks and all that stuff. The way that this happens is you play through the career mode, you interact with a character, and it will I don't know if it'll just be that if you interact with them, he then becomes unlockable, or if you have to beat him in a match, he then becomes unlockable. I think the way that I'm going to do it is you have to beat the guy in the match, and once you beat him, you unlock him as a character, you unlock his attire, and you unlock any moves that are his moves. But once they're unlocked, they're not just in the game. You have to then go into our version of SmackDown Mall, where he will then be available to buy. You don't buy him with real world money, you buy him with in-game money that you generate through playing the career mode or playing. If people don't, some people, a person messaged me to say they're not interested in the career mode, they just want to play the game online and all this stuff. Can they still get the content? So yeah, if you play through the main game, you'll generate in-game money that you can use in the shop. And so what we might do is, this is still needs to be fleshed out, but it's just an idea that we have, and I want to gauge the community and see how they feel about it first as well. But what we might do is have a sort of paid DLC, which I'm really against. But for if you buy this thing, that'll unlock all the items for you to then purchase. So you won't get them in the game; they'll just be unlockable. They'll just be unlocked so that you can, if you build up enough money in the game, not playing the career mode, you can then still buy them. So that's an idea, a way around it, because I kind of want people to have to play through the career mode. I kind of want them to have to do it properly. But then with this guy saying, I don't want to play the career mode.
Yeah.
I'm then in a position of, okay, and he's telling me I'll happily pay money to unlock everything. So I'm
$20,000.
I'm trying to find a way to accommodate people that just don't want to play the career mode. I don't want someone to be able to just spend a bit of money and get everything in the game. So if they spend a bit of money on this thing, if this ends up happening, then it would unlock them to be able to buy in the game. So they still actually have to play through the game. They still have to play the one-on-one matches to build up enough money to buy them. And you wouldn't get as much in-game currency playing one-on-one matches as what you would in the career mode. So this is an idea that's floating around. I actually want to gauge the community and see how they feel about that first before we make any decisions about that. Because I'm sort of coming at it from a perspective of I'm trying to accommodate every type of player. And if there's people out there that just don't like career modes, they don't want to do that, then I don't know how to accommodate them in a way that they can get all the different unlockables. So that's an idea that's there. But yeah, that's early stages. So,
and that is something you want to definitely keep in mind, because to your point, if it's a sandbox game, it's like I say about 2K. I am now forced to go through this My Rise experience, which quite honestly, I would much rather not waste my time on it. Some people like it. It's actually better than I expected it to be, but I have no choice if I want to get the certain arenas they have in there or unlock Jean-Paul Levesque version of Triple H, which I just did yesterday. But unless I play through it, I'm not going to get. And it's like, I paid $120. What the hell?
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me how I got to play the game I paid $120 for. So I get where they're coming from. And I also see your point of view. And
yeah, well, like I said to you, I played the 2K game for the first time the other day, and I went to go select like the WCW arena, and it comes up, it was like 200 credits. I'm like, what? Like, fuck off. Like,
well, so, again, if you buy these complete, if you buy the base game, then yes, you have to work towards unlocking them, or you pay to unlock them, one or the other.
Yeah.
But if you bought the deluxe edition, for example, or the icon edition, then it's all unlocked.
See, I don't like that.
Well, here's something to think about on that.
Yeah,
you're giving the person who's playing the game, you're giving them the option. You don't have to pay more than the base for the game. But then in that environment, yeah, you're going to have to go through the story mode to unlock stuff. You don't. Now, like this guy told you, I'm more than willing to pay more money. Then, okay, then this tier will automatically unlock this stuff.
Yeah, see, I'll tell you, I think where my disagreement with it comes from is I don't think someone should be able to be in a better position just because they've paid more money for the game. If someone isn't able to pay more money for the deluxe version, and then they end up playing online, especially day one, you know, you go online and someone's just sitting there with all the stuff because they just had the money to pay for the deluxe edition. I don't know. I just there's something about that kind of rubs me the wrong way. So
that's fair.
The argument of the guy who messaged me, if he's not interested in the career mode, and if I've made the career mode the only way that you can get these items into our version of the SmackDown Mall, then that's, I don't know, that's different. So then in that case, I'm kind of like, well, okay, if he's willing to pay an extra bit of money to get these items because he doesn't want to play the career mode and get them there so that he can't on day one just unlock everything. He still has to play through one-on-one matches, online matches. He still has to play the game in order to get it. But doing it this way, then he doesn't have to play the career mode, which he doesn't want to play. So yeah, again, I'm trying to accommodate everyone, but again, I don't actually like the idea that someone has more money so they get to just unlock everything on day one. I'm not a fan of that. But
okay.
Yeah,
that's a good conversation right there. Well, that all came from Spider Spud's question, so that's what we're doing this for. Hitman Show Off says there will be unique animation. Will there, I guess, be unique animations like Sting dropping from the rafters, Hogan rips the T-shirt, World Tour. If you do constant damage to a masked wrestler face, he rips his mask. Will it rip his mask, I guess is what he's asking. So basically, will there be any unique animations going on, whether somebody's dropping in from the rafters, which probably wouldn't be a good one to have in there, kind of Owen Hart, but the Hogan T-shirt thing? Or...
Yeah, I mean, well, that is actually something that, it's at the very least, it was in the intro to World Tour, was they had Sting dropping in.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that we could have that as an entrance because, you know, No Mercy, you just had the standard entrance of he comes through the stage, down there, all that stuff. So, but I obviously I'm thinking about, we want entrances where the guys can come through the crowd. So we want different types of entrances, and dropping down from the rafters like Sting did, that's an idea for an entrance. And if that, then that could also be applied to if he's going to interfere in the match. That could be the way he interferes. He come. In fact, that now that I'm saying that, I think that might have been in Revenge.
Yep,
it was.
Good.
Yeah,
when he comes in for the Battle Royal.
All right,
he drops
Revenge. Sting comes down. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So
spoiler alert.
20 years later, spoiler alert.
Yeah, 25 years later. Jeez.
No kidding.
But yeah, I've had a lot of people asking about masks and about face paint. Will face paint deteriorate over time? Yeah, that's something that definitely is a system that we want to include. Masks. I think World Tour had a move where you could attempt to pull the guy's mask off. I need to go back and look at that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's. I'll need to think about the masks and the removing clothes. Someone asked about this as well, like with the people's elbow type move. Will we be able to pull the elbow pad off? Because that was something you couldn't do in No Mercy.
Right.
That's something that we are able to do because, again, it's a new engine being built from scratch. We were able to do all these things that No Mercy couldn't. So yeah, taking the elbow pad off, throwing it into the crowd, all that stuff.
You gotta have somebody that takes the strap down, man. The single strap. The Jerry Lawler.
Yeah. So yeah, stuff like that. That's all part of it. Yeah, part of the. I mean, even in No Mercy, one of the poses, Mick Foley's pose, was to go get Socko. But I don't think there was anything there. It was part of the game that was missing, I think. So yeah, all the kind of, we know that was AKI's intention to do stuff like that, but they were limited by the N64 and what it could handle and everything.
I think part of the allure of this game right now is it's what would be if they had just continued the series up to this year.
Yeah,
and that's what's got people so excited is finally it's like the long-awaited sequel to a movie that you never thought you were going to see, and now all of a sudden they're making Rocky 25. Only this will be better. Let's see. We're going on to Dustin the Grim. How many wrestlers can be in the ring at once for a multi-man match?
Hard to say because right now we can load in quite a lot, and it doesn't really change the frame rate. But one thing because we have now all the fans in attendance. Right now, we need to do a lot of optimizing to get the frame rate to stop when all the fans are loaded. So it's hard how many characters will be on screen because as well as being just in the game, standing there, they have all sorts of AI scripts attached to them, and there's lots of other stuff going on. And then, of course, once you build the game and then test it in a specific platform, like on Switch or on Xbox or whatever, it can all be different. It can all change. But right now, I think our goal is to try and get 10. To try and get 10 wrestlers. If we can't manage 10, I'm pretty confident we'll at least get 8. So eight is kind of where I think we'll at least be able to get without any significant frame drop. But the goal would be 10. If we can do more, if we end up running like M. Dickey's games, if you've seen them, he has like 20 guys in the ring at one time, and the game's running fine. So yeah, I mean, in this day and age with like a PlayStation 5 and what that can handle, who knows? Maybe we can put 15, 20 guys in there. I don't want to say that as an official number, but I'd say right now 8 is a minimum. I think we can run 10, no problem. 10's kind of the goal of where we want to get to, at least.
And that's realistic. I mean, what matches do you normally see more than 10 people in the ring at one time? Not too many. I mean, a battle royal, if it's a 20-man battle royal or something like that, but other than that, even the Rumble doesn't normally have more than 10 people at a time in the ring.
Yeah. 10's a good number.
Yep, that definitely would, and it would knock the doors off of 2K because they're not doing 10. Good question. That's one of the reasons why we do this every week is as things change and get updated, then we can follow up on a question like this and have an answer maybe 2 months from now.
Yeah.
Now, were you saying something?
No.
Okay.
Oh no, I was going to say yes. They went for realism. That's why they've sort of had to compromise on things like that.
True. All right, let's see. Who's this? Flister wants to know, will the famous Hockey Man make his UPW debut as Hyperfocus Man? And again, if I didn't play this game yesterday, I wouldn't know what he's talking about, but now I know.
We were just talking about this a few days ago, like making an HFG man, or something that's sort of along those lines. We'll see what happens. I'll draw something, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, fuck it.
I'm pretty sure it'll work.
That's what I was about to say. I was going to say, I'll let Hal answer this one because it'll be Hal that designs them and everything. So
look for Hyperfocus Man coming soon to. Riley Anthony wants to know, my question is, will we have a community creations, and is it possible for any wrestlers in Ultra Pro Wrestling to die at any given point in time? What the heck kind of game is he playing in wrestling? He's taking this like to Impact Wrestling's realm, I guess, where they actually kill people off in their shows.
Yeah, do you know, like,
did that happen? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they've had, well, I take it back. The last one was Diener taking out Eric Young to take over the faction. Because Eric knew he was leaving to go back to WWE, so they wrote him out, knowing he probably wouldn't come back to wrestle when he's done with his wrestling carear.
They killed him in the story?
Yeah, they killed him. I mean, not in a graphic kind of way, but yeah, they killed him. And they actually did it to the bunny, too. The bunny on AEW, she was Allie over there. And she was part of like
no idea.
Oh, yeah, that was big news. She was the first, I think. And it was
funny.
Well,
got them. Good.
No, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, it got them a lot of press that they weren't, they kind of needed at the time. I don't know if it was great press, but it got them press. That they killed off a wrestler in a storyline. Everyone started, what the hell? And it was kind of hokey the way they did it. If you're familiar with Impact, it was Rosemarie's group along with Father Mitchell, and there was this whole satanic, battle of powers or what have you. And Allie ended up being the sacrifice at the end as she gave her life for her teammate. And actually, I mean, it was a slightly above Glow level of acting in this scene. Okay.
Hey, that's good. That's good enough for me, and always has
been.
It's pro wrestling. We're not doing fucking Shakespeare.
Exactly. Well, they were that night.
Yeah.
So in this case with Diener, he's basically been the number 2 guy the whole time in the faction, and now Eric Young is leaving, EY's leaving, so this is how they were going to pass the torch, where he basically told him, the illness is weakness. Weakness is got to be destroyed. Are you ready to do it? And they're sitting in a dark room, like an interrogation room. It's all dark except for the table. That's all you really see. And there's a shank right in the middle, and it looks like a legit shank from a prison. And it's sitting in the table between the two of them. And it's just stare down, and Cody does the best faces, man. And Eric basically says to him, you ready to do this? And they both fight over the thing, and there's a quick scrum or whatever. And all you see is Cody's hand. It's kind of like Psycho. The hand comes up and down, and then there's blood on it, and there's blood. So you don't actually see the piercing or anything like that.
Right.
And you don't even see the aftermath of Eric. Eric is just off the show now, and that's how they wrote him off the show. So they've killed 2 people, which brings us back to our question. Are we killing people?
Do you know what? It's a very it's a hard balance to strike between like, obviously, this is a wrestling game, and so I want it to reflect wrestling. And so to a degree, anything that's happened in wrestling, I kind of want to be possible in the game. However, there are things that do happen in wrestling that are even, and I can appreciate them for what they are, and I can find them funny. But for me, maybe it's like you'll have seen all the videos. There's videos of the guy with the pizza. There's the hypnosis match.
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day of a guy. He got his opponent in a move, and then got out a newspaper, and I'm sure there was like some narration over the top, and and it's playing with the idea that yes, wrestling's fictional. Yes, it's basically like we're watching a movie, but sometimes that just, it kind of goes too far in that direction, where I'm like, I appreciate it, I get it, and they're welcome to do that. I'm not going to be one of the people that shits on them, but I think about it, like if I ran a promotion, I wouldn't be doing that stuff. I'd feel like that kind of just exposes the business just a little bit too much,
he's gone corny on us.
but that's what I'm saying. Like
you motherfucker!
Well, the thing is, Jim Cornette wouldn't appreciate it. I appreciate it.
There you go. There is the difference.
Kenny Omega wrestling the blow-up doll. I appreciate it.
I thought that was my first time ever seeing him. How many years ago was that? And this guy needs to be in the WWE.
Yeah, I'm like, this is him showing what a great wrestler he can be, to actually make that look like, not look legitimate, but to to do it the way he did it, he's showing off his athleticism. I can appreciate it from a fan point of view in that regard. But again, I don't know, maybe it's just like I am sort of old school in certain ways. So like if it was my promotion, I wouldn't be doing that stuff. And so, that this is what I'm saying. When it comes to there's angles in wrestling where people die off. There were even Vince McMahon actually, there was an angle where the limousine blew up and stuff like that. So it is something that happens in wrestling from a storyline perspective. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think possibly death goes too far. But again, I mean, I don't know. It's like
so no buried alive matches then.
Well, but the thing is as well though, the argument against what I'm saying is that we compare it to movies all the time. People die in movies all the time.
Sure.
So should we be really too sensitive about a character dying off? I don't know. I think
the end of the day.
But I don't know about dying off as much as like if you wanted to include something stupid like that, it can almost be like a Mortal Kombat fatality scenario where it's like you can kill
here
him.
We go again with the creative juices flowing.
You can kill him, but you can fight him in the next match.
There you go. That's that 80s movie you were talking about earlier.
Like fucking Wile E. Coyote. Like how many fucking times has he died?
Good point.
I'm just thinking another argument against, or for the idea of being able to kill off characters is that because it is a video game, we want you to be able to do crazy stuff. We want you to be able to, give someone a burning hammer off the top of a Hell in a Cell. And, maybe someone shouldn't be able to survive that. Maybe if that happened like in real life, that guy's gone, so I don't know.
It's just a flesh wound.
I guess I'm open to the idea, and I'm open to being convinced either way, I guess.
All right, so we might kill your people off. We're not sure yet. We're thinking about it.
You know what? Whatever you decide to do, that's fine with me. They'll die funny deaths as long as it's fun. Just make it fun to die.
That's a good point because it's a game. At the end of the day, it's a game, and that's Impact to their credit. Yeah, the last one was kind of dark, but it was for the overall character development, and it works. So anyway, Dale Henderson says this game will be out before AEW Fight Forever, which I still think is probably true.
No.
I don't know, man. If there's a pothole, these guys don't know how to drive around it. They just whoop.
Yeah, I mean they're having but they're making a huge game. I'm just waiting for it, just like everybody else. But
yeah, but the game's done. They just can't release it because every time they step somewhere, oh, you didn't know that title was friggin' trademarked? That's a big thing to overlook.
Yeah, that's, whatever. That's business. I have faith that they'll have the game out by the end of the summer or the fall or whatever.
Summer
but that's the thing. The wrestling community will make the world's biggest fucking deal about the littlest tiny shit. But then you add the gaming community on top of it. God almighty damn. So I think people are probably, making a little too much of what's going on. Because
keep in mind though, they had release dates twice now.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's coming and it'll be good.
Yeah, no, I think, well, I mean, when people are saying, because I've heard that comment quite a lot, you'll be out before AEW. I mean, I take it as they're just, it's a joke, of course.
Yeah, they're shitting on AEW's
game. Yeah, it's just, yeah. I mean, we're obviously, quite a bit out just from the demo. The demo's scheduled for the end of this year, and then the full release is the end of next year. AEW, of course, they're going to get their game out. This whole thing as well with the name and the copyright. I saw something, don't know if it's true, but I think it's kind of largely been resolved, and it just needs a bit of paperwork and all that. So I wouldn't be surprised if AEW comes out in the next couple of months.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yep. All right, let's see. Dale Henderson. No, that was that last one. Sorry, Chris Johnson. Will Steam Mods Workshop be included similar to Fire Pro? Which I don't know what any of that means.
I'll say possibly. I think so, but I can't say 100% at this stage.
Steam mods, what is that for those of us that don't have a clue?
So I mean, Steamworks is the whole. I think it's basically you can just implement your own stuff in the game, play around with it. The thing is, we have our own system for. We want to create our own systems for you not needing any external ways to modify the game. We want you to be able to do as much as possible inside of the game, so that it works seamlessly across all the different platforms. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, if you modify something through Steamworks, it's only ever going to work on the PC version. You're not going to get those mods on Switch, on PlayStation, all that stuff. So we want to first approach the game, making it as mod friendly as possible. With the music and all that stuff. But we also kind of want to build our own systems where you can create music inside of the game. You can create your own textures inside of the game. So we kind of want to sidestep the normal mainstream way that you would mod a game, if we can do it, and if we can have it in the game and work across all the platforms. But it's a kind of like, well, we might not be able to do that with every different aspect of modding. So Steamworks might be an option that we have for PC gamers.
Okay. And then to that point, though, you were bringing up is there's a guy called What's the Status who's big with the 2K community because he is a PC gamer, and him and a small group of his friends are really good at going in and tweaking things. And then it is available to all of us on any platform. How they do it, I have no idea.
Yeah, well, I saw Smack Talks did the video on like the backstage areas. And they somehow this is. I honestly didn't understand it when I was watching it. I was like, okay.
So basically, he's unlocked those. Those are cutscene arena, or call them arenas for the lack of a better word.
Environments.
Environments, but. The problem is him unlocking them, they're just there for the aesthetics. In other words, for someone like me, if I needed that to do a cutscene to promote an angle of a story I'm trying to run, good for me. But to wrestle in it, it's garbage because it's not designed for that. So you're walking through tables and pool tables and going out the wall. And
well, I saw the bit with the airport where you can just run out. Because I didn't understand. I was like, is this something that they
No. It's just extra content for people that can maybe use it to make good. You get good thumbnails and stuff like that out of it, that kind of stuff. But what he did do, and has done for a few years now, with the permission of 2K, is, for example, if you fire up yours and you play Austin Theory, you're going to see Austin Theory not looking like he does on TV today because he didn't have a full beard. This guy was able to go in there. We can't do it on console, but he was able to go in there, take the model, and put the full beard on it.
And then you can get that on like
I can download it now from his on the community creations.
Right. Okay. So this is an area that I need to educate myself on a bit more. As people will know that I'm not typically a modern gamer. I've not familiarized myself with modern stuff.
I would reach out to him if you have any questions like that. He's pretty cool about talking and things like that. He's real busy right now because this is what his time of year where he is just grinding anything he can get out there on 2K.
Yeah. Well, I'll also say if there's anyone watching this that knows more about this stuff that can help me, feel free to message. And to be fair as well, as I say, we're not at that stage just yet because all of our focus and attention is going to be on this one-on-one match. So people messaging me as well. If I don't get back to you or anything like that, if people asking about, the submitting music and just all the stuff, some people like, I haven't got back to you yet. And part of the reason that I won't get back to you for a while is because we're just not at that stage just yet. Our focus, as I said, just now, we're on the kind of promotion side to get the Kickstarter to maximize that. But as soon as we get back to working on the game, it's going to be all geared towards getting this one-on-one demo done as quickly as possible. Once that's done, then all the other elements and aspects of the game, that opens up, and I'll be able to communicate with people better about what we're going to do.
And that's part of the reason we do this on a weekly basis, is to update people where it's at. So when that time does come, this will be a perfect place where you'll find out that, hey, right now, Sam is looking for some folks that have expertise in this or in that, and moving along that way. Gecko wants to know, will there be similar match options like No Mercy, like settings for no DQ, hardcore, first blood, submission, KO? So basically all the match settings that you can kind of improvise.
Yeah, we actually have a YouTube video where it was done a while ago, but I go through the menu system, and it's all the different match types and all the different settings for... basically, I approached it from our point of view of you want to be able to create as many different match types as possible. But again, with a menu system and a game, you don't want just an endless list of different variations. You want a nice, clean, small list where you can just tweak the settings here and there. So you select match type, and then you go to the rules section, which is once you've selected all the different settings for the match type, you get the rules page. So you could actually create, of course, we don't have a Royal Rumble because that name we can't use, but we have what we call a Gauntlet Royale. So you go down to the Royale mode, which Royale is basically just anything that involves 3 or more people. And you could adjust, so you could select a 3-person Royale, and if you tweak the rules, you can change it to elimination style, or whoever gets the first victory. So that switches it from, a 3-way dance or a triple threat, because there's different rules. So you can have that match, but in the menu system, it looks all nice and clean. You go along to a 20 or 30 man as soon as you increase it 20 or 30 people, it changes from a Royale to a Gauntlet Royale, and the structure is then as people come out every so often, which is basically a Royal Rumble. So once you've got that match type set up, then you can change the rules to whether you want it to be elimination by over the top rope, or if you want it to be by pinfall, or if you want it to be over the top rope and pinfall, or if you want it to be a first blood match. So you could literally have a 30-man Royal Rumble, first blood, hardcore, anything goes kind of match. So yeah, the idea is you'll be able to create just about anything you can dream up.
Cool. Mania Land wants to know, says, I'm really excited, and I'm thinking he's directing this to you. I'm really excited about the Blast show. If you can let me know all the details about it.
So the Blast show is inside of the game. You've got the career mode with all the different promotions, and that's all the promotions that are kind of in the trailer as well. Like we've got the WWF old school type promotion. We've got the indie type promotion. Mexico, Japan. But outside of the career mode, the online mode is a whole other environment. The online mode, we obviously have this championship. There's only going to be one of. And of course, if there's only one championship, you have to be able to defend that on a weekly basis. So we thought, well, we're going to actually have a show inside of the game that airs once a week. And that is the place where you must defend your title. If you're only ever going to defend it once a week, if you've not defended it and whatever, it has to be there so that we can actually create some buzz around that. So we'll actually do a live stream of this weekly show.
Nice.
This takes place in the arena that we have kind of modeled. It's a sort of cross between Nitro and Raw. So we've called it Ultra Pro Wrestling Blast. So it's the Blast Arena, and that's going to be the name of the show, Ultra Pro Wrestling Blast, once a week, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch or both, or even if there's some way to live stream it. I don't know if that's possible, but yeah, we basically want to have this like a live weekly wrestling show, but instead of being real wrestlers, it'll be in-game characters controlled by real people that are trying to get this belt, trying to defend the belt. And of course, we'll have a bunch of other matches as well. So we'll have like a number 1 contenders match, all that kind of stuff. So that'll take place on the show Blast. And we actually might even have real life commentators, and maybe Vince McMahon might be good for that kind of thing.
Oh, I think I could be twisted into going that direction. That'll be a blast.
Fellas, I don't mean to cut y'all off. I actually have to go. I didn't realize what time it was, but it's getting a little bit close for me. But
We appreciate you being here, buddy. And again, I can't say enough. Love the stuff you're doing. Love it.
Well, thank you. I'm actually fixing to get back to work on it right now and then do some dad stuffs and all that. So you guys have a wonderful day.
You
Young
do the same.
Samuel, I'll probably talk to you tomorrow morning.
Yeah. All right, dude.
Take
All
care,
right.
sir.
Bye,
The great
fellas.
Hal Haney, ladies and gentlemen. It was great having him on. Really was.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And to everyone out there, we generally try to keep this to about an hour, but it's the last one before the end of the Kickstarter. Want to get as much information out there, whatever we can do to help push it across. And we're going to try and touch a couple of quick questions in the chat board. But again, if you want questions read on the Monday show, make sure that you go to the YouTube page, go to the community tab. I'll have a new thumbnail up in a few hours for next week's show, and that's where you list them all, and then we just go down the list, and it makes it real quick and easy usually. This, like I said, we had a lot of questions, and we had a lot of stuff, and we also had to meet Hal. So this one's taking a little bit longer, but we're going to get through it quickly here. So the Blast Show, one thing you mentioned about that, and I want to bring up, so if you're the champion, you can defend your title on Wednesday and Thursday if you want to.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to rack up your ranking, all that stuff,
Got it.
you'll be free to defend the title.
But you must defend it on Monday.
Yeah, you have to be there for the live show as well.
Okay, so even if you've had 3 successful title defenses, you can't say not on Monday. Now, I'm not going to be there at Mania. Sorry.
Yeah, if you no show the Blast,
we're going to have a gauntlet royale and determine the new champion.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't turn up, then we'll find a way. We might even do it on the same show on the same night. We might say, maybe the guy has to like log in or something like an hour before. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's all kind of up in the air, the way that we're going to organize it.
It's exciting, though.
At the start of the show, you could announce the champion has no showed. We're going to give him till this time. Otherwise, it's going to go to. We're going to have this.
Dude, I'm getting seriously goosebumps just thinking about the fact that we're taking a video game concept to this live. I mean, I do the live streaming all the time, but it's still different because now we got live people playing, competing. It's not me choreographing and coming up with a predetermined outcome. Yeah. We don't know the outcome.
And I'll say, exactly. And I'll say as well, we're obviously the idea for this very heavily influenced by esports and things like that. So when you see big competitions for I don't know, Super Smash Brothers or even Tetris, there's big Tetris competitions, and they do them in these big rooms with crowds of people.
Well,
we want that
eventually.
We want a big venue. We might only do it as well as having Blast, which is the weekly show.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we'll eventually have more than one champion in terms of there's the world champion. We might have regional champions. We might have tag team. We might have a women's title, but it's just all up in the air. We'll have a bunch of championships. So an idea as well would be that once a year we'll do a mega show, and so this will be in a brand new arena. It will be our WrestleMania, So we'll have this whole new arena for the matches to take place in, and the idea behind that would be we'd actually have a big hall that we'd rent out. We'd sell tickets to people coming in to watch it, and we'd get the best players. We'd fly them in and have them actually sit on stage.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds crazy, but I mean, at the same time, are you into Rocket League at all? Do you know anything about Rocket League, the game?
I've seen some footage of it. I've never played it.
Cars playing soccer, basically. It's a great game. The thing is all hell. They have small arenas with 8 to 10 during COVID. Holy cow. They were the go-to thing because you couldn't have athletes in locker rooms, so they weren't doing live sports, so they went to esports. And they've actually pulled 10 to 12,000 people in a building watching a game on the Jumbotron in the building.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's what we want Ultra Pro Wrestling to eventually be a real life promotion that way, where we end up getting the big hall, and we could even, as part of it, have a ring set up, and have maybe a blast ring, all that stuff. Convention type of deal. We think that'd be a lot of fun, and even have people cosplaying as some of the characters. It'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Yep. And I can totally see the cosplay thing happening with these characters. I mean, they are just ripe for cosplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay Barnacles wants to know, how will matches like Hell in a Cell work in UPW? Since we haven't seen Hell in a Cell match in a Key Games before, will it be similar to Nintendo GameCube wrestling games like the Day of Reckoning series?
No, I think, and it's a shame because they actually, before AKI was done with WWE, they were in development with a new game called Backlash, and a Hell in a Cell was going to be part of that. So we would have got to see exactly how they would have managed that. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. What I'm going to do with that? I'm going to contact Melon Bread, and I'm going to go over the Hell in a Cell mechanics with him, because he is the guy that would know exactly how AKI would have done it. So so yeah, that's a conversation that I'm going to try and have with Melon Bread at some point.
And it's so cool that you have the ability to tap into that. Somebody that has all that knowledge already.
You know what? It's such a massive coincidence that he's from Scotland.
Yeah, like, you were mentioning this.
Like, he could have been from anywhere in the world.
Right.
He'd be up the road, So yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna try and do, and we'll go through a bunch of shit.
Barnacles also asked, will you have to stand on a table to break it like in No Mercy, or can you stand next to it and do like a power bomb onto it or something to that effect?
Say that again?
So I guess with the current games that I'm playing, to break a table, you have to stand on top of it and do a move to somebody. He's asking, can you be next to the table and maybe power bomb somebody through the table from the floor?
All right. Okay. Yeah. I didn't hear the table part. I mean, yeah, that because of, it's something that the AKI games didn't do, but at the same time, that is something that kind of happens so much in real life. The tables aren't just used for, place a guy on top of them. Or you ever see, Bubba Ray Dudley stand on top of the table with someone else and do the move. That's rare. It doesn't happen as much as, Bubba standing next to the table, lifting the guy up and turning him around. So actually, yeah, putting people through tables that way is a mechanic that we will have to implement. But again, everything that we're doing, we're kind of saying, how would AKI have approached this? And unfortunately, that's something that we can't really draw from. So there's going to be a bit of planning to make sure that when you put someone through a table, it feels like an AKI way of doing it. But that's definitely will be doing.
Cool. We've got Clint Streiser says, will the male and female creation tools let us change individual body parts, sizes, like arms, legs, waist? For the love of God, please add a boob slider. So, a boob slider. So here's what he's talking about specifically, and you can go monkey around with it in the 2K23 there and see it. And it hasn't changed in a while now. When THQ had the franchise, this was not an issue. 2K takes it over and has removed all the good stuff just to make it look a little better, I guess. So now if you want to create a wrestler, there's several, six or nine body styles per weight category. And
right.
There's never going to be a time, hardly, where you're going to find one, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for, because either the boobs are too big or the legs are too thin or whatever it is. So in the old game, yes, you would have these starting points, but then you could go in individually and work the shoulders, work the chest, work the butt, work the legs, and make it look accurate.
Yeah. And again, going back to AKI, one thing that they did, which I know later games stopped doing, was that the male and female body type, it was the same base model. So basically you could take any of the female costumes and put them on the male characters because they use the same base model. That wasn't an issue. Later games, they because well, it doesn't matter why, but they basically, I guess, found it easier to have a separate base model and a separate female base model. So clothing items didn't transition well. You'd have the the female with all the different clothing items that she would have, the male with all the different clothing items that they would have. But because we're doing it the way the AKI did it, everything's going to be interchangeable. So the female base model, although it's a separate model to begin with, we're going to make it work with our base male model. And with our base male model, you have all the sliders for. This is me getting around to the whole boob slider thing. So yeah, we have the ability to change height, body volume. Right now, we don't have separate volume sliders for arms and legs, but that's something that we plan on having. So a boob slider, maybe, yeah, that could be in there. But yeah,
I don't know that it has to be a boob slider specifically, but I think the point he's making is that we had the ability with past games that has been taken away for a while now.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking about. Like even the neck, making the neck smaller and all
trapeze,
that stuff.
The traps area and all that. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not exactly easy to do all that. It is a lot of work. But I think it's something worth doing.
Last question on the list from Hitman Show Off says each character will have four different outfits and the freedom to use as they please, or will it work as in the MDickie games, 3 in total, 1 for wrestling only, 1 for backstage, and 1 for referee?
So the way that we're approaching that just now, which is quite ambitious, but basically we've been able to condense all your attire choices, selections, and colors. We're able to basically condense that down to quite a small file. So the idea, especially for the career mode, where I kind of want the characters to evolve over time. Like if you're taking our characters and you're making, trying to think of a good example. Well, Shawn Michaels is probably a good example because Shawn doesn't just have that one costume. Shawn has many different costumes that he uses within the same year. And then a couple of years later, you'll have completely different costumes. So, of course, you want lots of different costumes, and you want that to be reflective as you're playing through the career mode. You want to go away from a promotion and then come back and see all the wrestlers that you used to wrestle with all have updated. They all look slightly different. So the way that we've planned it just now is we will have 4 different costumes for each character that represent 4 different durations of the year. So, the first costume will be January to April, say. So then, if you're in the career mode, you load that up, or even if you select an event that takes place in January 1999, the characters are going to conform to their costumes from that time period. So that's 4 costumes for each character for each year. So that's a lot. That's you span that out over 20 years, and we've got like 100 characters. That's like that's a shitload of different costumes and all that stuff. You'll also then have a 5th attire, which will be across all the year, but this will be your backstage, what you wear, your kind of normal. So yeah, each character has, just now the way it works is you have 5 attires per character per year. So it means that there's no shortage of attires. There's literally hundreds of different variations there.
Cool. Well, that answers that question. All right. Let's just go quickly through some of the comments here. We're not going to have time to get to everything, but let's see what people are saying. Spider says, if Steve Austin had the option to call and talk or text, I'd be disappointed every time he chose to text. I can totally see him being the guy that's like, hell, man, just get on the damn phone and talk. I got to sit here and fumble with this piece of shit. Getting a lot of these. UPW. Imagine if we had a scenario where there was this WrestleMania in an actual stadium or an arena somewhere with a live crowd, and that, oh my God.
The UPW chance.
Yes. There's another one. Walter Johnson getting in on it. Let's see. Greetings from Germany. I'm so looking forward to the game. Amazing that Sam and Hal collab on this. Love it. Again, I've heard nothing but positive stuff coming out of this. How do you tag people in chat? I don't know. That's something I'm not that. I'm on this side of the screen. I'm not sure about that. Axe and Smash been a team for 35 years. That's a long time. It has been.
Yeah, I said this in one of the podcasts. That was like one of my earliest memories from wrestling. I remember being at my grand's house. I don't remember the context of it. I don't remember who Demolition were up against, but I just remember the TV. I've got such a vivid memory. I'm just a little kid in the covers, and the TV's there, and the music's playing, and Demolition are walking down the aisle, and that's how long they've been at it.
Just think about the irony in this, though. Your first memory of wrestling is Demolition coming out. Hal's was the LOD coming out.
Yeah. But yeah, how weird is that? Just to let you know, I'm going to have to wrap up fairly soon.
Cool.
I've got someone coming that I need to go and see.
We'll make this the last one then. Will Hal be creating additional original gear, mask, face paint, etc. for Caw Mode?
Oh, do you know, I actually haven't asked him about that. I don't see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can say to him, what do you think about that? Right now, we've only really spoken about the characters that he's been designing. But yeah, I mean, maybe even alternate costumes for some of his characters as well. That may be an idea. It's something I'll need to ask him about. But yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, we'll look at seeing something like that can be done. All right, as I said, we went long on this one because it's the last one before the end of the Kickstarter. So if you haven't already joined the Kickstarter campaign, I cannot say how much I would recommend that you get in on this, because it's going to be something you'll be proud to have your name associated with in any way, shape, or form down the line. This is going to be the game that we've been asking for. It's getting done the right way. It is including the fan base in a way that 2K won't even respond to you. And you know that. I mean, if anyone's ever written a 2K, you know they don't even respond. They give you cookie cutter responses if you get any, and nothing ever happens with it. A year later, they have another broken game for you. Enjoy. We'll be back in 12 months. So it's time where you put up or shut up is what I say, and that's why I'm putting up, and I'm giving everything I can possibly help these guys out with be successful, because I know this is what I've been asking for.
Yeah, and well, I'll just say as well, if I ever start to come across like 2K and not respond to people, obviously, you know, we've been doing a lot of interaction with the community just now because we are in that promotion stage. But once we get back into dev, I'm really not going to have time to answer every email, message, and all that stuff. Because I mean, it's so weird how it is like a full-time job responding to people and interacting with people. And, you know, you look at the time and all of a sudden like 4 hours have went by and I've not done any work other than responding to comments, answering questions. So that's why this whole platform here is amazing. And anyone, if you've asked a question anywhere and I've not answered, it's really not out of it's obviously nothing personal. It's just there's so much going on. So this is why you have to sort of, any questions you have, direct them to Vince McSham, ask him, and we'll do this thing once a week, and he'll get to ask me, and that's just the best way to do it, to maximize my time on the game.
Exactly. So, we want the game, right? So that's the whole idea. So the idea of this was to keep it to maybe 15, 20 minutes in length, bullet point the answers, and we're out the door, and then you got your answers and he can get back to work so we can get our game. That's the circle that we're trying to run in right now. I'm going to let you get to work. Sam, thank you so much for joining us again this week. I'll see you next week where we'll do it all over again. In the meantime, everybody, I'll be back later tonight for our first episode on my channel of Blast, so you can check out how that's going to look. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think you'll see some things there that you didn't see coming. In the meantime, from ringside, as I like to say, we'll see you next time. Take care, be safe, goodbye.
Every day we wake up to a society that is burning down, where laws and authorities are no longer followed or respected, where faith is so sorely needed but in such short supply. I stand before you now as a man with a message. For if you follow the book and you follow me, you will find the light. In a world where society is in decay, in a world where government runs without soul, will you follow me? For I am the Right Reverend Gabriel Good.
But you can chat more. There's waiting to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that.